Good afternoon, everyone. It's today marks our fourth official garage session. Today's topic is SAP Cloud Platform Portal. And so today we're going to be same format as the previous three. We're getting good feedback on the format. 7 minutes, topic overview, no more, no less. If our invited guest goes over, we just cut him off right in the middle of a sentence. And then we're going to jump straight into 30-ish minutes of showing people how to create a portal site from scratch with a guided walkthrough. And I think today's session, we're going to do it with the trial account. And I think of all the sessions we've done so far, this one has the highest likelihood that people could follow along, I think, step by step, should you wish to do so, because everything, again, will be done in the trial account. So without further ado, let me push out the first slide and introduce our guest speaker. Let me do that. So people should be seeing the SAP Cloud Platform in the garage session. And today, I don't know if you can see it, I'm wearing my, what's code got to do with it, because next month we'll be doing the Mendex session. So thought I'd remind people of that, which we'll also do at the end. But here is our three people for today. So of course, myself, I work for the Center of Excellence for SAP Cloud Platform for North America. You can see I've got my Twitter handle there at Scott Dillon 1. So please feel free, tweet at me about the Garage series. Let me know if you're going to Tech Ed next week. All that is goodness. And today with us, we've got Thomas Hensel. Thomas, what do you do for SAP?
Hi, so I'm Thomas. I'm product manager for the Cloud Platform Portal and Fiori Cloud topics. So I've been dealing with UX topics for more than a decade now, and really excited about that new format. So looking forward to that session.
This is excellent. So we're very fortunate to have Thomas with us all the way from Germany today, which is great. So, these On24 social collaboration tools makes the geographic distance disappear, which is amazing. And then, of course, as not as always, but often with us, we have one of our senior solution guys that's working with customers almost every day. Ricky, what do you do? Where do you reside?
Hey, Scott. Yep. So I'm based in Toronto, Canada, and I'm a solution engineer focused on the SAP Cloud Platform, mainly working with our customers to help them understand how the SAP Cloud Platform can help them to build, extend, integrate their applications.
Awesome. So thank you very much. And so as always, what we try to do is answer the questions as we're going through. So for everybody that's on the session, we've added a group chat pod, I guess, widget at the bottom. So if you bring that up from the bottom, you can just, collaborate with the people that are on the phone. But if possible, try to put your official questions, if they're product related, into the Q&A, because then we can have Ricky get in there. It's a quick way for him to see what the questions are and give a response to you. And if at the end, there's some that we haven't answered, myself and Thomas will attempt to answer those in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the session. And we'll go from there. And so just one or two other things. So we do have a couple of poll questions, which we'll get to in a second. But today we've got something a little bit extra. We're going to put up a challenge at the end to anybody that's interested in participating. And that'll be towards the end, just as we get into the Q&A session. So you might want to stick around for that, because it might be a bit of fun for those of you that are more hands-on orientated. So let's see. So let's get into the first poll question. We're hoping that you can give us a feeling for, is this your first time in the garage with us? And this poll question will sit up there for about 1 minute, no more, no less. So actually 30 seconds. I will time it starting now. And so this just gives us an idea if we're getting new people in the garage, which I think we do have a bunch of new people today, which is great. We're getting close to 100 people online for this session today. And then in the second poll question, we want to get a sense, before Thomas goes into his section, how many people are already familiar with SAP Cloud Portal. So that's 30 seconds. I'm going to just quickly go over to the poll results. So you can see we've got about 50% of the people are getting new sessions. See, Thomas, I told you people would flock from all over the world to hear from you, which is amazing.
That's great.
This is great. So let's go on to the second poll question quickly, just to give us a sense. Again, 30 seconds from now, just to get people touching the keyboard.
It's even more interesting now for me.
Yeah, this is good, right? This is good. Yeah. So let's get 15 seconds. Just make sure that people are not falling asleep at the wheel and they're not watching some other video, which would not be good, not be cool. All right, so we got 5 seconds, and we're going to pop over to the results of that. So this is good. So you can see, Thomas, we've got 60-ish people, 60% of the people have started or playing with. So this is really good feedback, I think, for you as a presenter, so we can gauge our delivery appropriately. So that's perfect. So Thomas, from here, I will let you guide and take control over the slides, and I'm setting my timer now. Over to you.
All right. So thanks for the introduction. As we see, a few of you already are familiar with the portal. Nevertheless, I would like to provide a brief overview about what is it all about, what's our motivation, and how it fits into the bigger picture of what we call the digital experience or user experience services of Cloud Platform. What we experience and what you tell us from a customer side is that SAP software is great. It covers a big portion of your business processes, yet the user experience may not be optimal. And over the last couple of years, we invested quite significantly in all the topics of design thinking, SAP Fiori, and you see here a bunch of tools and services that should help you on the customer side to really, on the one hand, renew existing applications, like the ones we have based on SAP Business Suite, but also complement. So whenever there's something where you need a kind of a differentiating application or service, for your employees or partners or customers, then we provide you those tools starting from the initial design phase with our prototyping tools and initial design tools down to the actual development environment. And I heard from Scott that there are sessions coming up about Mendix and mobile development, down to once all those applications have been in place and you need a kind of the central entry point, this is where it comes all together in a portal. And so this is the context of what we call user experience or digital experience services. And the session today, again, is about the SAP portal. So I'd like to give you some insight. What is it all about? What are the main capabilities? And maybe also for those of you who are wondering, how does it relate to the Fiori launchpad? How do they fit together? Give you some idea what are the scenarios we see being addressed by the SAP Cloud Platform Portal. So moving on to the next slide, for quite a long time, and by the way, I started with the enterprise portal on premise long time ago here at SAP. Our motivation is to provide that central point of access, that single access point, for all the information in the organization, and serve this for all the employees, customers, or partners, meaning really that central point of access to the variety of assets and resources that you have. And 2011, 2012, we started on that cloud journey, and we want to bring also the portal capabilities now onto SAP Cloud Platform. So first takeaway, SAP Cloud Platform Portal is one service on top of Cloud Platform, helping you to create what we call the business sites for really reaching out then to employee customers and partners and providing those either more application-oriented use cases, or maybe you want to really build some websites where you then need capabilities for web content, handling documents. You may want to integrate with some search or other portal capabilities, collaboration, things like this. And Cloud Platform provides a huge set of those capabilities. And the portal, so to say, sits on top, bringing everything together and providing here the application integration capabilities for not just SAP apps and services, but obviously you want to also integrate your custom built applications and services. You may have partner solutions that you want to bring into that unified experience. So this is a big asset or piece of capability of the portal, this integration. In addition, we see a growing demand for customers to, let's say, customize the out-of-the-box solutions coming from SAP. That's why we have tools and an editing environment where you can change the look and feel. You can change the branding, logos, colors to really reflect the corporate design guidelines that your maybe marketing department or agency provides. And really structure then the navigation, the overall layout, and really make sure that the persona who logs onto your website or to the portal sees exactly what they need to get their job done and really have access immediately to the apps and self-services that they need day in, day out. Further on, we see that customers ask us, okay, there is quite a lot of you can achieve by just doing configuration, but we also need more capabilities to really come with our kind of pixel perfect design. So we also have a set of capabilities and APIs that you can use to extend the out-of-the-box experience, and where we then also look to use tools like Web IDE for creating additional plugins and extensions. So in the meantime, I think we have a quite flexible platform here in place that helps you to create really nice business sites. The picture you see on the screen is one example, but to give you some impression in which direction we think from SAP, there are different what we call experiences, and they are all coming down to the templates that we provide as part of the product. And especially in SAP-minded companies, obviously the first step is to provide a central entry point to all the applications, meaning applications from SAP Business Suite or S/4HANA. You may have some reports, analytical apps, dashboards, custom-built applications, and you want to provide everything in one single launchpad. So this is the most straightforward use case we see, and the Cloud Portal provides a template that is called then the SAP Fiori launchpad, which is a very specific template, so to say, that you can use to build those type of employee launchpads. On the other extreme, we see those customers who say, Udi, I have a pixel perfect designed layout, and I need to create my own navigation structure. I have my own layout in terms of header and footer and different cells or containers on the side where I have certain elements like images, videos, graphics, news, and whatever you want to put on the page. So that's another way how you can use the tools of the portal to build those websites. And of course, you want or may want to combine it. So imagine a website where you have a public landing page, then you authenticate, and you get additional pages that are available only for those who have a valid user and password. And maybe then there's a section that you want to allow them to kind of assess self-services, so you can even combine kind of that launchpad experience with the what we call freestyle site experience. And throughout the session today, we will look into both of them, so you will learn quickly how to create such a launchpad site, but also the freestyle experience. Just to get a little bit more of the impression as a kind of appetizer to what we see. I mean, we won't have such a comprehensive launchpad in the session today, but at the end, it's about providing that role-based access. You see different anchors or groups on the top. In this way, we can provide that really easy access to application and work nicely on smartphones or tablet devices. It's really optimized, so to say, for kind of application launcher or dashboard type of scenarios. And the cool thing is that really here the end users can even personalize this, like you want to rearrange the cells or the tiles to another groups. You can add groups, you can remove them from your homepage and just put them back into the repository of apps to really make sure you adjust it to the topmost applications you need day in, day out.
10 seconds, Thomas.
Good. Just concluding with this one. On the other side, those two use cases represent what we call an employee portal, which is more about structured content. You have a navigation hierarchy, a lot of content on the side, including web content, videos, and so on. And not just for employees, but also what we have here in our pharma portal, like extranets for customers or partner websites. So at the end of the day, it's up to you to take the tools and the APIs to really reflect what your use case should deliver to your stakeholders. With this, I hope you got excited, and now it's up to us, Scott, to give the audience some impression how they can build such sites.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're going to move right into, so we got about quarter after, so we're going to shoot to kind of walk through the next piece in the next 30, 35 minutes. That'll bring us to 10:02, then we can explain the challenge and things like that. So let's, I'm going to share my screen just to see. Share my screen now, and then I'm going to start right over on just let me know when you see my screen?
Mm-hmm. I can see.
Okay, so for everyone that's on the phone, if you want to follow along, which, why not, right? We're going to walk you through this step by step. So what you want to do is you want to log into the SAP Cloud Platform, and you want to start on this screen, and we're hoping that we can just guide you through step by step how to create a portal site. So Thomas, from here, where am I going, my friend? Show me the way.
So what we see on your screen is the SAP Cloud Platform cockpit. And if you go to the services section, I hope that most of you know this central place here. This is where all the capabilities of the SAP Cloud Platform are listed. And the portal is under the user experience category. So you can use the filter feature here on the right side, or use the search button and enter portal. So this is where the portal is. In your case, it's already enabled. Those of you who may use it for the first time, they can click on that tile, open the portal overview page, and may need to activate it. Since yours seems to be enabled and up and running, you can directly go to the service by launching that go to service link on the bottom. Yeah, exactly this one. So what's coming up now is what we call the admin space. So this is really the central place of the portal administrator, a dedicated persona who is allowed or has the tools here to create sites. A site is like a business site, a microsite, or a project, really a self-contained project. And what you see here is the landing page. So you see either projects you have been recently working on, or you can directly click on that button, create new site, and create a new project. So that's what we do.
All right, create a new site.
In the first part of the demo, we are going to create a Fiori launchpad. So we give it a name, and in the list of templates, you see SAP provides you with a set of predefined layouts, like starter set or basic layouts, admin site. But most interesting now is the Fiori launchpad. So select this. And
so Thomas, just while that's coming up there, so one of the questions that I get from customers all the time is that they'll say something to me like, "Oh, Scott, we're going to do a launchpad. We don't need a portal." Mm-hmm. Can we talk to that a little bit? Because in fact, what we just saw, right, is that there's a template for a portal that references the Fiori launchpad. Not to be confused with the second type of portal site that we will create, right? So in fact, when you do create a Fiori launchpad, you do embed it into a portal site. Is that accurate?
Maybe to rephrase what you said, that brings you also tools for managing and creating launchpad sites. This is SAP Cloud Platform Portal. And when you create a new project, there are multiple templates available. And Fiori Launchpad is one particular template that you can use to create such a launchpad site.
Okay, a launchpad site. Okay, perfect. That's to get the terminology right. Okay, so then I've just hit create, and now I have this little dashboard here. What am I looking at exactly?
Mm-hmm. So the different site types, like we will see later on, have their own authoring environment. This is now the central place where the administrator can manage and configure all the settings and configuration of a Fiori launchpad. And this is called, as you see on the top, Fiori configuration cockpit. So you see later on when we fill it with content, the dashboard looks more crowded. At the moment is just some of the sample or default content that we have there. And the easiest way to fill it with content, I think, is just get started. On the left side, you see different elements. We will explore them throughout the session. And let's start with catalogs and groups. Just that you get a feeling of the artifacts that are involved when creating a project. So the first item we are going to create is a catalog. And a catalog is kind of if you will, kind of a business package or a bundle of all the applications you want to make available to a certain business role or function, like all apps that belong to a finance role or all apps that belong to people in sales or logistics. So that's kind of a business package that contains all the apps. So let's create the catalog first. On the bottom, you have the plus sign. So in addition to the two catalogs you have already there, we just create a new garage catalog. If you like, you can give it a description. It's not necessary. What's more important now is that while the catalog is grouping the applications, we want to make it available later to a certain set of users. And the users are grouped, so to say, by the business roles. So there's a dedicated tab there next to apps, exactly this one, the roles. And here we can add our portal roles. For the sake of the demo, I would just say, let's select one of the out-of-the-box roles, meaning either everyone. Yeah, everyone should fit very well. You see that they're also like instructor. You could create your own portal roles as a customer, employees, managers, sales, whatever. So we are good with everyone, which means at the end, everybody who is authenticated to Cloud Platform would have access to our application. Cool, that's it. That's now the catalog. We will add applications later on. Just press save. Okay. And now we can add the next artifact, which is a group. So while, let's stick to the example with finance, you may have at the end 100 applications assigned to the finance catalog. You may not expose all finance apps maybe directly on the launchpad. So there's another concept of what we call groups, which will later on define how you group all the application tiles on the launchpad on the homepage. That's why we will now create a group. It's a similar procedure. On the bottom, you have the plus sign, and we can create a group. So let's call it garage group, maybe. Right. And or you can leave out the yeah, it's you can leave out a group under the group name. Maybe it's just yeah, you don't need it. Okay, good. Now under roles, it's the same assignment required. Of course, only those people who are now logged onto the launchpad with a certain business role should see the group. Like people in finance should see the finance content, while people in sales should not see that group, right? That's why, again, here would assign the proper role. For the sake of the demo, again, I would just select the everyone group. Of course, in the real implementation, this would be more fine granular according to your organizational structures. Good. Okay. Now we have exactly, save it. Now we have the catalog, we have the group. What's missing are the applications. So
just I want to stop you there, Thomas. So just to be 100% crystal clear on what's going on here. So what I heard you say, just to use some active listening, catalog is the place where we define and make available to anyone that has the right permissions logging into the SAP Fiori Launchpad. This is like the total set of content you have access to, not to be confused with a group, which kind of indicates or controls what they see when they first hit their launchpad and the screen comes up. So you might have 3 or 4 groups on the first screen that are either defined by the backend people or defined by a user. That's the display piece, and the catalog is what's then available in addition to what they're seeing on that first launchpad screen. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so group is relevant for the launchpad runtime, while the catalog is more the kind of the authorization object that groups those apps that should be available to the end user. And even if they are maybe not part of a group, you may still access your apps through the search, through a direct link you get from a colleague, or through the app finder. So,
that's good. That's good to know. So, in fact, you don't have to assign an app to a group at the beginning. A user could go in, find the app in the catalog, and then add it to a group after he or she logs in.
Exactly.
All right, this is good. All right, so moving on. What next?
So we have now a group, we have a catalog. What we need is the actual applications. And you told me before that in one of the previous sessions, you created some cool, nice applications. So why not adding them to our catalogs and groups? So the procedure is, again, here, similar. Press the plus sign, and then we can easily embed into our Launchpad one of the applications you deployed before. In this case, we don't even have to manually state the name or technical configuration, but we can just browse the repository to find all the applications that are deployed to Cloud Platform. to our account. And if you go down, then you will find the garage registration application, which is
right. So this is just a quick note here. So for those people that are new, of which 50% of you are new today, just want to highlight that in the previous session, what we did is we built a workflow using the workflow service. And in order to interact with that workflow service, we chose to use a custom UI5 application that would kick off that workflow. So that garage registration app that you're looking at here was the exact same one that we used last time. So we're trying to keep these sessions somewhat intertwined. So now we're going to take that same application and show you how I built essentially that launchpad that was in the last session. So sorry, Thomas, just want to make sure people were aware of what happened in the last session. So we're going to pick this garage registration application, which in a future session in 2019, we will show you how to build. Okay, so this is this one here. Got it.
Just mark it and press OK. And type the UI5 components, or all this is pre-populated. And what we can do as a next step is then assign this to a catalog and group we created before. So in that, go to the next tab. Exactly, this is the catalog. And if you press the plus sign, you should find the catalog we created before. So there's our garage catalog, exactly. By this, we make it available in general for the user. And if you now want to make it also appear on the launchpad at runtime by default, then we can also add it to the group.
Okay, so the group we just created, Garage 2018, got it.
Perfect. You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, not bad for a rookie. Okay, this is good.
So one more step we can do is the visualization. So there are different ways to launch applications. As we said, you can use the search or the app finder. If you want to put it on the Launchpad homepage, I recommend to have a nice description and logo also for the application tile. So what you see here is in the tab visualization that you can also add information to be shown directly on the tile, like subtitle, or you can select an icon. So feel free, Scott, to add something. Exactly, and maybe we find a nice icon for this.
Okay. Sure, I'll use this one here. Nice and easy, first one in the row. Okay.
Good. With this, we have an application assigned to our own catalog and group.
And I have to save it down below. Okay.
And with this, I think we are ready to preview what we've done so far. The portal has a built-in preview capabilities, meaning also the site is not live yet. We as administrator have here the option to look at the site, how would it work from an end user perspective. So if you press this button here exactly on the top right corner, it says site preview. We have some nice functionality to view our launchpad with the application we just assigned to it, test it out, see it on different form factors and orientations. So really play around a little bit with this to get a feeling. I mean, now for one tile, it's maybe obvious that it's looking nicely, but imagine now you have hundreds of applications that are grouped into tens, 20 groups, and you want to make sure it's all in the right order and a sequence. So that's why this is a good approach also for the application itself. When you start it, to make sure that it's looking nice.
All right, this is good. All right, so let's move back. I guess now that I've had a look at that, let's move back. Now, how do I take this?
So there's.
Whoops, I think I closed it. No, I didn't. How do we make this public now? We got to publish this, right?
Yeah, so there one more step we wanted to do in the settings.
Yep, okay.
Because every site has a unique URL. So there is that settings menu for our site. And if you go to edit mode, we can change, for example, the URL. And instead of the cryptic hashed URL, we can give it an alias. right? Garage. So we have a nice URL there. And there are some additional parameters. I don't want to go into the details, but like you can define the UI5 version that is relevant for the runtime to make sure that your application uses the latest controls, or maybe you want to specify a certain version of UI5. You can activate different user services like language and theme selection. You can,
All right.
do a lot of things here. Maybe that's enough for now. So let's save our changes.
Okay.
And the only missing part to make it available for the end user is now publishing it. In the middle of the general section, you see it's currently offline, the red dot, right, under status. So when we press the publish button, exactly.
The red, yeah, got it. The red dot. Okay, got it. Publish.
Yeah, when we publish it now, this will take a few seconds, and then we make it available, and everybody who has this URL and has the proper permissions or authentication role can then access it. So you have to...
Let's try this. I'm going to shorten this up. And if people want to try it right now, just to see, hopefully they can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would invite people on the phone to do is quickly take this short URL, goo.gl/b uppercase J uppercase R 2QN and try it. And so if you have a SAP Cloud Platform account, you should see that launchpad. So let's see who will be the first person to get something in the chat window that would tell us that they were successful in doing that. So open up the group chat and say, yeah, it's visible. In the meantime, I'll go back and show that one more time. So the URL was changed it. So hopefully you got it the first time I said it, but if I were to do it again, it's goo.gl. Now it's changed / uppercase H, little a, little p, uppercase K, uppercase R with a 7. And that should get you to the same place. I copy it, put it in there. Yep, get you back to the same place. So you should see a launchpad with a tile that you can click on and register for the workflow that we did last week. So that's, there you go, Eduardo. You're in there pretty quickly. Just put the URL here. Great idea, David. That would have been the best idea ever. Thank you for thanks for that feedback. Thank you. So let's go on to the next part, Thomas, because clearly, I mean, the impression is, well, could be that the launchpad could take a long time, right, to orchestrate, and we just did a launchpad with a custom tile with a custom app in about 15-20 minutes, which I think is it's impressive. Let's face it, it's impressive. It's all right. So okay, so let's move on quickly because we have we've got about 15 minutes to get a freestyle site built. Do you think that's possible?
For sure.
All right, for sure. I love your optimism. So let's go back to site directory. Right, is where we want to be.
Exactly. So the site directory is the central place where you see all the projects. Over time, there might be more and more. We see our launchpad project we just created, and with the plus sign, we also can now instantiate our next project or business site. We give it a name. This time we will create a freestyle site, which is more web content oriented with more layout options, because the launchpad is very much driven by our SAP Fiori guidelines, while the freestyle site really allows you to define own header, footer, and content sections. So awesome. We select maybe the starter site just to keep it simple, and create it. Mm-hmm. So what is coming up now is the so-called site designer. Similar to the Fiori configuration cockpit for the launchpad, we have here our authoring environment for freestyle sites, because in this case, we want to create a set of pages. You want to really manipulate the layout. You want to place web content widgets on the site. So this is all be done through the site designer. And what you see on the left side, again, some menus. We will look one after the other. Then we have the pages pane. where we see later on our pages showing up. And in the right area, you see kind of what you see is what you get environment of our, at the moment, empty starter page. And when you click this content section, then automatically on the right side, you see the two buttons. One is for adding content. The second one is for the layout. So let's start with the adding content, plusing the plus sign. And what comes up here is our widget gallery. So we provide tons of predefined widgets that you can place on the site, from simple text or image widgets to videos or combined ones like more kind of image carousels and more. You see here rich text editors, so that is you reflecting kind of most needed widgets. And what we want to do first for our site, for the course here, add what we call the story card. So even you can use the search for story card, or you can go down and we select the circular story card, and we create a nice intro of our speakers. So we have here that template pre-populated with content, and when you hover over it, you can go into the edit mode and change the content to our needs. So there's that pencil icon that turns then into the edit mode. And you see the 3 content items there, and you can easily change the title, for example, of the speakers. We could change the text and the image. I think for the time being, we can keep this or keep it short. And yeah, the picture is not bad, so let's keep
there
it.
We go. That's a great picture.
Even better, even better. Yeah.
So I can save that one. And I'm just going to quickly do the same thing with the next line of content for myself. I'll leave the text the same. And for those of you that know me for 30 seconds, know that everything I talk about is winter/skiing related. So I'll put in my ski picture. And then do we want to keep that third card or third photo, Thomas, or want to get rid of that?
Give it a try if you can easily remove it. Let's see.
Okay, so I can just hit this, probably this minus. There you go, perfect. All right.
That was too easy.
It's way too easy. But I guess one thing I would say, I mean, one thing that's pretty obvious at this point is that I don't have to be a programmer/developer to build a freestyle portal site. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. We kept it very simple, and it's a lot about configuration or content authoring rather than administration or development. Absolutely. Of course, we will see later you can do enhancements and create your own content widgets. But let's add one more from the default list. Okay. So we have a header for our website here. There is a dedicated widget called header or large header. So we add a nice title to our website, like the garage session or so. So it's the same approach. You hover over it, then you get the pencil to turn to edit mode.
But Thomas, I don't want this at the bottom. Looks pretty funny having a header at the bottom. How do I arrange that?
Good catch. So as I said earlier, on the side panel of that content section, you have the option, if you hover on the right, to not just the plus, but below the plus, there's that layout icon. This one, exactly. This gives you option to define the arrangement, like should the containers on the page sitting one on top of the other, or like left to right, or you have multiple cells. So this is where you can define the layout, and in the bottom part, you can then also, like, say, just drag and drop, change the order. So if you want the header to appear above, you can just turn it upside down, and that's as easy as this.
Got it. So no programming required for that either. Nice. Good.
Yep.
All right.
Very nice. We we saw now that there's tons of predefined widgets, but obviously every customer has some special content that they would like to bring to their website. And with just a few additional configuration steps in for the application developer, you can wrap an application to make it show up in our gallery here. So let's try to bring one of our registration widgets onto that website and see how it's being embedded. So there should be a registration widget that we configured upfront.
It's back to the plus sign, right, for the section?
Mm-hmm.
Add a widget. Okay. So just to explain to people what has happened here, because they won't see this in their list of widgets. So in case they're following along, what we had done prior to the session today, and this is the only piece you won't be able to do, so you could just pick something else. So we took the registration form that we built for the previous workflow in the garage session, and to Thomas's point, we just converted it. And maybe we do another session on that next year on how to create a portal widget. And so when you do that, the widget shows up in the widget selection. So again, as the person that's creating this portal site, I don't actually have to be a programmer to embed this quote unquote application into the portal. So I should just be able to click this plus sign, right, Thomas?
Exactly.
Okay. So now we see it. Now we see it embedded into the page, as opposed to it being, an application associated with a page. Right? It truly does become a widget.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cool. So I think we have a nice page with introducing the speakers. We have the header and the application registration form. So I think maybe let's see how it looks in the preview.
Okay.
So it's similar to what we did before with the launchpad. You can see it on different device types and resolutions. You can change the orientation. So this gives you some idea how it may look then, especially on smaller devices. And when we work later on the navigation menu, then you'll also see that at the moment it's just that one page, but the more you have, then of course you want to also navigate between pages, and you see that, for example, the widget with the persona itself is responsive and adjusts to the available.
Right. That's really good, because a lot of the sites that we see with customers these days, they don't always have a responsive site. So it's just good for them to know that the SAP Cloud Platform Portal service, if you use the standard widgets, it will be completely responsive, as we're seeing here. So can we quickly publish this, Thomas?
We could publish it right away, unless we want to also give it a quick alias and look into the settings.
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Let's do that. We have about 5 minutes left.
Okay, we hurry up. Yes. So here's where we have the edit mode. We can give it a nice alias. Maybe you also want to get rid of the Fiori header. That was part of the template, but we don't need a Fiori header because it's should behave like a website.
Okay.
Theme and language selection, that might be interesting for customers coming from different backgrounds or countries. So we keep this for now. And yeah, that's maybe enough for now.
Let's
save it.
All right, so back to the publish. And open. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab, it shows up. Let's make sure everything looks the way that we expect it to look. I'm going to grab the same URL, and I'm going to put it into the group chat. So here's a really good idea by Mr. Brilliman. So here's that. I'll pop back to the on-demand screen. And for those of you that want to get a feeling for the response time, maybe even of the portal, what it looks like, just to make sure it's actually working, give me a quick indication, if you wouldn't mind, in the chat that you're actually seeing it. And I know when we talked, Thomas, there's about a 15 to 30 second delay. So by the time that we get the feedback, we can expect a little bit of a delay there. So from that point now, if we can, just while people are coming back, maybe after if we get an indication if it works, we can maybe quickly create 1 or 2 menu items just to kind of polish it up and then deal with any questions we might have that are outstanding. How's that sound?
That's a good idea. Yeah. So what we did so far is just creating a single page, but obviously in a real website or microsite, you may have multiple pages. So let's have a quick look
Let's go back.
in principle how it's working. And then, so under page management, you see pages. This is where we started with our initial page.
Right.
And you can easily create another page there. Maybe for the demo, let's keep it short and create an empty page just to have one more. And maybe a minor hint to the audience, if you click next, so select the starter template, we keep it from the previous one, select next. Here is also a way where you can define access levels. This is interesting when you say you may have a website where only guest users should have access to, or you want to have kind of anonymous users coming to a public landing page, and only after authentication, then you have additional pages showing up in your website, like an intranet with a public landing page and then role-specific additional content. So we keep this for now with the role-based, say finish.
Okay. Perfect.
And what's called garage page. That's it mainly. So we have 2 pages now. And to give you an idea how you build up the navigation menu, I think we go to the menu editor on the left, just that you get an impression. Sure. Imagine now we have 10 or 20 pages, so you need kind of a hierarchy in the navigation to reach all the pages. So the menu editor helps you really to build this website navigation. And it could be a mega menu, or it could be more a simple navigation menu. And you can add items here by using that plus sign on the right. And with this, you had even add an item on the same level or on a level below. So let's add on the same level for now. Okay. In parallel, and we can add our page 2 that we just created. So the item type is page, and from the selection below, we see that garage page has that crossed out I symbol, so it hasn't been assigned yet. If you mark it and add, it gets automatically then assigned to the navigation menu.
I see. Okay, so the cross through the I can't be seen or not visible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And in a similar way, if you just press one more time the plus sign, you can also add, if you hover over the garage, you can add also items on lower level, or let's just add for principle to show how it's working. You cannot only add pages, but there are other types as well. So you could also add just kind of placeholders, like if you create a bigger mega menu and you have kind of sections, then you can have titles, you can put in links if you want to link and jump directly to another website, and you can even directly launch applications. So in this case, Scott is pointing to a website. So events.html, I think you need.
Thank you.
And yeah, cool.
All right. 2 minutes. So I'll save that.
Yeah, I guess let's save it for now. You saw that you also could refer directly to applications, but I trust, or I hope you trust us, that this is just a similar procedure. You see now on the upper right corner, our globe has a asterisk. So we have a live version that you accessed already. We have been working on additional content structures, so it gets kind of that star indicating that there are unpublished changes or modified. So that's the status we have internal. If you now republish, then also those changes become visible for you. And those who still have the website open, they can verify that the additional page and the navigation menu is then also available for you as an end user.
And so just before I click that, I noticed that there's a box here to clear the HTML5 cache. Why would I have to do that?
Yeah. Over time, you may have different applications or content published on your page. And especially, for example, when you change the UI5 version for the runtime, then it's a good idea to clear the cache and kind of enforce this here. So the portal, so to say, signals to the end user once they log on to the portal, kind of invalidating the cache and taking the latest version of it.
All right, so it looks like I have a new option up here.
Mm-hmm. And even as you see, kind of not just the flat navigation, but you can create kind of a hierarchy, especially for more comprehensive website. This makes it easy then to navigate to the proper page or sub pages. Gotcha.
And just in case people are interested in the best series that's going on right now, you can click here and register. Great. Okay, so so this is really good, Thomas. So basically, over the course of the last 35 minutes, just to recap quickly, then we'll get into the Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing that portion, go back, and then I want to pop down to here, I think. So we built a Fiori launchpad, which was a site template. We then published that. People were able to see it. And then we created a freestyle portal site, published it. People were able to see it. We got some comments here, people coming in. So this is really, really good that people were able to see it as well. And then I want to push this out just so people, and I want to talk about the challenge that we have for folks should they wish to participate. So I think they should be seeing now, we have 2 courses. So today was just a really quick teaser. And so, in fact, myself, I'm also logged into and following along with the Open SAP course for portals. So there's a really good course that's going on. I'm getting a lot out of it. So it's good to just refresh and learn the latest and greatest. So that's really good. And it's all delivered by the product portal team. Yourself also, I noticed, are in there, which is great. So that's one course. And then, of course, next week we've got Tech Ed. So again, lots of the people from SAP will be at Tech Ed. I'll be there. Again, shoot me an email, scott.dillon@sap.com, shoot me a Twitter, whatever way you want to get a hold of me. Here's a quick poll, because, of course, we don't take your name from these sessions and then go to, we don't start phoning you just to say, hey, you want to get together. So here's a poll question. If you want to schedule a whiteboard session with myself and or Thomas, just say yes, and then we'll come see you, or hop on the phone and we'll talk about, if you have questions or you want to dig deeper into a certain topic, feel free to do so. So I'll leave that up there for another 10 or 15 seconds, and then I want to get into the challenge from today. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so moving on. So today's challenge. So this is new and exciting. As we get more people on board, we'd like to give you a little challenge. So today's challenge is the following. I am the least creative person on the face of the planet. It's just a fact. I'm not very good. So my running joke is my definition of creative is left aligned. But it would be really interesting. We're going to give people 16 days from today. And if you want to craft a portal site that would represent the Garage series and the kind of work the kind of enablement that we're trying to bring to bear here, we'll give you 16 days. And then when you're finished, just like I was able to publish the URL today out to you and anyone can see it, you could also send it to me. And so you could tweet me. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, basically not the Friday of Tech Ed, but the week after, we will review the submissions. And if you're one of the top 2, we're going to send you something. It's that easy. You'll have to send me an address, of course, but so use the hashtag, SCP Garage, include your URL. Anybody that's out there with a Cloud Platform account will be able to see it, and we get to see how creative or not you are. I won't compete because I definitely won't win. So this is all good. So let's quickly move on. So, and of course, my Twitter handle is Scott Dillon 1. So let's just quickly check Thomas in the Q&A, and let's have us see here. Most of the questions have been answered. How do you get devices in the top? I don't understand what that means. how do you get devices in the top? So Srinu, if you can give us a little bit more detail. Any idea what that means, Thomas? How do you get devices in the top? And then the next one is widget name, please. I'm not sure I understand widget name, please. I guess that was during the demo. We probably passed over something, but there was a header widget that we used in there.
Yeah, I think the question, Scott, for the widget question is they wanted to know the name of the widget for showing multiple images.
Oh, I see. So that was the circular story. Was it circular story board, Thomas, or circular story? I think it was circular storyboard. Right?
Card.
Circular story card. Okay.
Yeah. Just scroll down the widget gallery and you will find it easily.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, and I think, Scott, the question about the previous question was around, I think somewhere in the demo they saw there's a list of mobile devices from a testing standpoint. And so where does that list of devices get populated from? What do they need to do to enable that?
Okay, perfect. So as soon as you run the preview mode at the very top, I actually don't have to do anything. So as soon as you hit preview mode and you're in the launchpad template or the other one, you will see those at the top just by default. And so then when you click them, you can change the parameters. And I think the ones that are there, they more or less reflect a mobile device and like an iPad mini, but you can change them, right? And you can change the orientation. We didn't show that, but you can also change the orientation. Got a few more coming in.
Yeah, Thomas, there's a question about roles and how do you map roles and groups and users to those roles and groups. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. Basically, I explained it in the beginning that you assign what we call the portal roles to catalogs and groups. That's the one angle. And then there is the configuration part in Cloud Platform Cockpit, which is more on the administrator role, who's then mapping the portal role to what you have as a user store. Like a lot of customers use a corporate identity provider that is connected to Cloud Platform, and then you can do the mapping of those portal roles to those user groups, so to say, which are persisted in the IDP. Maybe that's the short answer. We are happy to get maybe in the follow-up discussion to explain it in more details.
Okay, just a couple more good questions here. We'll just take two more, and then we'll have to drop because we want to be respectful of people's time. Is the Cloud Platform a SaaS offer? So yes, as people know, or most people know, we do have the SAP Enterprise Portal that has been an on-premise product for a very long time. And now the SAP Cloud Platform Portal is a service that only runs in the cloud as a cloud managed service. So you cannot deploy it on premise. That should be Willie. That should be the answer to that. And then we'll maybe answer this one as the last question. How do you convert ECC functionality to apps? And that's a loaded question, but the reality is lots of the different types of apps like WebDimpro applications, as an example, can be brought in. The other aspect of this is Fiori Cloud, which we haven't talked about, which is, Fiori Cloud offers, I think for S4 yesterday when I checked, it was 9,000 applications that have been built by SAP and exist in the Fiori Cloud cockpit once you register for that SaaS offering. So you can just more or less add those to your screens. And then, of course, the third option is you've got lots of capability there to create custom apps should you wish to do so. But would you like to say anything else on top of that, Thomas? And then we'll wrap it. I
think you explained it very well, so very good.
All right. Awesome. So I have a good teacher, Thomas. I'm just listening closely to everything you tell me, and I just repeat it back. So this is good. Well, Ricky, thank you very much for the time. Everybody that attended the session today, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, lots of us will be down at TechEd next week. We'd love to put a face to the name for some of the people that we see showing up here, so that'd be amazing. Yeah, see you at TechEd, and if not, we'll see you in the next Garage session, which is going to be Mendex, the Rapid Application Development Tool. And then following that, we're going to do one on mobile. So thank you, Thomas. Thanks, everybody. And we'll call it here. Thanks, and have a great day.
Have a nice day. Bye.
See ya.